maan helmillä peitti tuo kesäinen sade. Miks unelmoida tätä parempaa?
And this is Old Town Stockholm. And don't you want to try out one of the local restaurants and taste the specialties of the area? In keeping with our tradition of having our first meal on a trip at a Chinese restaurant, we are eating at the Formosa for lunch here in Stockholm. And this is the hotel we are staying at, the Grand Hotel. And here is one of the major pedestrian parks in Stockholm. Lots of families, lots of restaurants, lots of exercise, lots of things to see and do on a Sunday afternoon. This beautiful old schooner sitting in the harbor opposite the palace is a bed and breakfast. It costs about $100 a night to stay here. I am told it has great views of the palace in the morning, but it rocks a little bit at night. This is the Stockholm City Hall. A fountain in Maria Park on the South Island. This is the hotel where Mamma Mia, the movie, was premiered at, and this is owned by one of the ABBA singers. Hotel Rival. These are the two former Admiralty Islands that I walked around yesterday. There's the youth hostel. As you listen to wonderful music, there in the distance is Tallinn, Estonia, and that church right there is the tallest building in Tallinn, built over 500 feet high, built so that ships could find the port back in medieval times. And coming into port is always an interesting thing to watch as they throw the strings and tie the ship up at the dock. This is the Viru Gate to Old Town Tallinn, Estonia. So one goes through the gates and down the street here. And as I stand here in the gate, of course, we have a famous Estonian tradition. Looking down the row of restaurants. And this is the center square of Tallinn, where people are dressed in authentic outfits. Restaurants where steaks go for about $20 for a good-sized steak. There are little stores along the old town walls, probably the way it was in the 15 and 1600s. Of course, Old Town Tallinn is one giant tourist trap. With the sun setting into the ocean as we head to the very next port. Now we are about to explore the historic monument of St. Petersburg. The historic monuments we're talking about are not 18th and 17th century palaces, mainly by Peter the Great. The most important site in the city of St. Petersburg is the cruiser Aurora. This is the ship from which the start of the Bolshevik Revolution began in 1917. These are 6-inch guns. This ship is also very famous for pickpockets. The worst pickpocket area in the city of St. Petersburg. This is the gun that started the October Revolution. This is not authentic Russian music. It is a salesperson selling his personal songs.
1917,
Looking over at the Hermitage,
the October uprising.
posing in front of the gun. In the Second World War, all the guns were taken off the ship for the defense of Leningrad.
The next day after it's over.
This is the radio room on board the ship where Lenin declared the foundation of the revolution, right from that desk. Now we look at the Soviet Artillery Museum. Those are all self-propelled guns. And these are World War II artillery pieces. This is a 1600s siege gun. Takes 60 horses to haul this gun around. It's used against walls. All of these artillery pieces had names. This is the Unicorn. This is a Katushka. And this gun is what kept the Germans out of Leningrad. This was a bunker gun. This 76mm artillery piece was manufactured here in Leningrad during the course of the German siege and was used against Tiger tanks. This is an SA-2 that shot down Gary Powers in 1962. Now we are going to do a house visit in one of these apartments. Still working. Wow. So this is the kitchen, washing machine.
And washing.
Port days end between 5 and 6, and if you hear the whistle, you've missed the ship. Finland uses all the colors of the rainbow in its buildings, and nothing was bomb damaged during the Sino-Finnish War in 1941-40. Every port has its famous attractions that you must see, and this Sibelius statue here in Helsinki is no different. The main activity up close is to stick your head in the pipes and listen for music. Can you hear anything, Janice? Maybe that one will work better. Got anything in there? We're having lunch at a typical Finnish restaurant called Savu or Smoke, and they must feature smoke items.
We had to tar it, everything, so it could last the salty sea, the storms, and anything.
The Esplanade is the living room of Helsinki, with everybody in the city strolling down this broad avenue. Between the open-air market and Stockmann's department store, the largest in Europe. Welcome to Warnemunde, East Germany. What an incredible seaside resort town of 4,000 with about 10,000 tourists, mostly German. There are restaurants everywhere in this town, but we're going to eat on the ship anyway. Looking down the canal here. Then it is back to the ship and getting ready for your very next port.
Example for bipartisan politics? No, we're not. Unless all the Democrats want to lock themselves in a room and watch ESPN, and the Republicans want to go watch Fox News Fair and Balance, which James says I use as a drunk. He uses a lamppost for support, not elimination. He's really a Democrat, and I'm really a Republican. I'm a certain kind of Republican. I'm a conservative, a constitutionalist. He's just a liberal. So I'm right and he's wrong. So that's
not in American presidential politics, but in all of democracy. How the Republicans nominate their presidential candidate. From 1944 to 2008, In each cycle, there has always been a designated Republican frontrunner by virtue of experience, by virtue of fundraising ability, by virtue of polling or anything else. And not most of the time, not almost all of the time, but every time, that frontrunner has won. And it's like we said, it's always the old white guy, who is evidenced by 2008. John McCain is the single oldest, whitest human being that ever lived. He's so old and white, he'd stand out on this cruise. It's kept secret in Washington. They have to nominate a Hispanic vice president. And everybody knows that. You now know it. I'm telling you something that 150 people know before, and because you're on Crystal Cruise, you now know.
Have a nice day. Thank you and enjoy your cruise.
Thank you, Nick. On this overcast and chilly day here in Copenhagen, we go to the Museum of Danish Resistance. Copenhagen was not really bombed at all during the Second World War. And this is the Jewish synagogue of Copenhagen. 7,000 Jews. This place was built in 1830. There are some 180 of these elephants all over Copenhagen. And after in about 3 months, they're going to auction these off. It's a cute elephant. And this is the garden of the Royal Library.
Sen